Good evening everyone and welcome to TTG Project Cars 2. It is not the Renault RSO ones as per last week and the previous 7 weeks, of course, of action that has unfolded. Well done to Grushbro for winning that championship, of course. Clearly the best driver at the end of the day. We are changing a bit of tack here tonight. We are going into the Renault Clio Cup, still sticking with the same theme of the Renaults. We've got 15-minute endurance, 15-minute sprint race to come up very shortly. I've been testing these cars out and I've got to say, really handles well. If you get caught on the curb, you might flip. So I just want to mention that. Yeah. But, as always, I'm JamesHead14. I'll be taking you through the action for tonight for TTG Project Cars 2, and I'm very thrilled to be here for the final week of action. This is of course the Renault Clio Cup. As I say, we're going around Brands Hatch Indy first of all, and Brands Hatch Indy, of course, consists of some famous corners like Clearways, Clark Curve, and of course the infamous Druid hairpin at the top of the hill at turn 2. So that is going to be really interesting to see. And of course, if you are very unfamiliar to Brands Hatch, of course, was introduced as a track back in the mid-1960s. I'll just get this confirmed because I just want to make sure my facts are right. Yeah, so the British Grand Prix was obviously hosted here at Brands Hatch. It was first opened, actually. When was it first opened? It was opened in 1 year, I know that. But, based down in Kent, obviously, this track. They hosted 12 running to the British Grand Prix between 1964 and 1986, and of course they now famously host the British Touring Car Championship. And although this is not on the same level as the British Touring Car Championship, same level of action I think will unfold here. We haven't got Crusher Bro, I don't think, here tonight, which is a shame. We have got 8 drivers though ready and willing. We are about a minute away from the scheduled start time. We've got Alan Kay, Plaster, Frank, Theo Daly, Andy, This Is War, who is brand new, I think, to this series, Maze, and Sean, which is absolutely fantastic. 8 drivers about to do battle at the famous Brands Hatch circuit in Kent, of course. But if you are unfamiliar to how we run TTG Project Cars 2, TTG Project Cars 2, obviously, I'm just going to mute my notifications for a minute because I have a feeling that I'm going to get absolutely spammed, invited, and all sorts. So I'm just going to turn off my notifications. I do apologise about the black screen. Yeah, I'm going to get a lot of notifications coming through. I think it's best to do that wherever necessary. But the Indy circuit, obviously located in a total natural amphitheatre compared to the Grand Prix track, which obviously extends outwards towards the back straight, of course. And it's only 1.1 mile in length, nearly 1.2 mile in length. The Grand Prix circuit, hopefully we might be seeing that later on for the feature race. 2.4 layout, 2.4 mile layout there for tonight. And of course, British Touring Cars hosted, as I say. But, and also in fact, Brands Hatch also do host Rallycross as well. They've got 2 specialist Rallycross stages, which I never knew about until looking up before the stream actually started. So it's really interesting stuff to have on hand there. In the meantime, I'm just going to check through the comment section, see what you guys are tuning in for, and hopefully wishing me well. Thanks for this week, James. How's the head? My head is completely fine. It's my voice that you should be worrying about. I have been having some mental sweets today, and yeah, let's just say my voice is a little bit down after commentary last night, especially, which might have might just down my voice by an octave or 2. But I'm fine. No drinking occurred last night, I can guarantee you that, and I'm fresh as a daisy, ready for another TTG commentary, my 4th of the week in total, and thrilled, of course, to be commentating for TTG as per usual. We should be getting going very soon, as I say. Got Alan Calais, Pastor, Frank, Theo Daly, Andy, This Is War, Maze, and Sean all going to be competing. Hopefully we are due a start time very, very soon. It is 2 minutes past 8, so should be getting underway very, very soon indeed. I'm just gonna check, see if there's any messages that have came through. Maze about TTFL. Oh, we've had McKinder actually join. I think we're waiting for McKinder to join, and then we're going to get going. So we should see the timer come up at the top, right, the top middle of your screen. Right on cue. Perfection. 15-minute sprint race about to begin then, of course, here at Brands Hatch Indy. Of course, 2 layouts if you're just tuning in. So only 6 turns on this. There's 9 turns on the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit, which, of course, has played host to Formula 1 racing around here. I don't think the track is fit enough at the minute to host Formula 1 racing. Of course, Silverstone happening this weekend. This track completely different in nature. They need to go up. I think if these guys want to host, but if Brands Hatch want to host Formula 1 racing in the future, or like Formula E or any championship like that, I think they need to go under a major redevelopment of the track, put in new look grandstands, ruin a bit of the nature feel that you get, especially on the Grand Prix layout. But everyone's sinking in. We should be getting going very soon. I'm just going to get my settings at the ready. There we go. So we're about to get started here. I think we'll be getting started in around 20 seconds time. It's normally around 20 seconds. And of course the Clio Cups, everyone's chosen a different livery, which is good to see. Makes me stand out. And Theo Daly appears to be on top. Sean, McKinder Few, Maze, This Is War, Andy, Frank, Alan Kay and Plaster. Plaster starting from the back of the field. There, of course, his F1 exploits has been going quite nicely as of late in TTG, which is very good to see. But that is your rundown of the order. We should be getting started, as I say, in about 10 seconds' time. It normally takes about a minute to sink in, and then we get the 15-minute start timer very soon. We should be, anyways, getting started very soon indeed. I think we're just waiting on somebody. There we go. We're now starting to sink in for the rest to begin. The timer will refresh to 15 minutes on the clock at the top right-hand side of your screen. And we're about to get going for TTG Renault Clio Cup at Brands Hatch Indy. And it's lights out and away we go. Good start by Sean, getting a good jump off the start. Everyone clean away, which is good to see. Theo Daly ran the outside of Paddock Hill Bend, going into turn 1. And it's Sean at the inside bend for the first time as they now run up the hill to Druid's Hairpin at the top of the hill, turn 2. I just need to get my track map up just to make sure where we are going. So from Druids they go down to the Graham Hill Bend, of course, 6 turns out on track, and Sean has got the break. McKinder Few going around the outside of Theo Daly, who's sliding the car backwards, nearly there. They're having a bit of a half spin, to be honest. But Sean leads, McKinder Few in second, Frank is already into third as well, just sliding the car through. Very nicely in the Volmer Racing livery. And it just pushes off Theo Daly off track. I'm not sure if there was a bit of contact. Of course, these cars are prone to very light contact, so drivers have got to be aware of that. I have covered Gabba Racing Clio Cup before, but at the end of lap 1, around a minute a lap, I would think here, and Sean has got the break by 9/10 of a second as they run through Paddock Hill Bend once again. Paddock Hill Bend, up Haywards Hill, and now to Druid's Hairpin. McKinder Few in second. We've got a bit of a battle going on between. It was Frank and McKinder Few, in fact. I thought it was somebody else, as This Is War runs wide. Looks like he might be lagging or desyncing, possibly. Might just need to have a connection check on him if possible. But Sean leading the way, McKinder Few in second. These 5 have pulled way clear of the rest of the field, have been caught in some sort of tangling match at the back. As in 4th place, that was This Is War just losing slight contact, and Theo Daly just pushes into him, maybe just outbraking himself slightly there. Theo Daly is back up to 4th. We've got Mason 6th, running by his lonesome. Plaster 7th, Alan Kay and Nathan Andy down in 9th place, 15 seconds off the pace. End of lap 2 at Brands Hatch Indy. I'm running down the hill for the first time. There is a bit of bodywork, in fact, on the track. Not sure who that might have come off. It might have came off Alan Kay, in fact. He was into the pits, so that will make sense. So I think that is Alan Kay into the pits. Sean, now Frank attacking McKinder Few, trying to go around the outside of Graham Hill Bend onto the Cooper Straight through turn 3. And not quite. Frank is getting closer though. Slipstream quite effective, but obviously the straight's not long enough. Apart from the Brabham Straight, it's not really long enough to get a move done, to be honest. But through clearways and through Clark Curve they go, and McKinder Few runs out wide. He's into the gravel. Somebody else is into the gravel in behind as well. Theo Daly is off in the background. He recovers, stays in third. McKinnon for you will feel the judge. He's going to rejoin safely out on track, which is good to see. He'll get out of the way of Mays, who is just coming in behind him as well. In fact, Mays is cutting the track at Clearways and Clark Curve. Not great to see there. Andy's making his way through the field. That's where the front wing damage just came from. Andy has lost his bonnet on his car, and that front wing, that front bumper, in fact, it looks like it's going to come off. He has passed TTG Mays, who made the mistake at Clearways. Everyone just spreading themselves out nicely, and Sean leading the way out in front, and Theo Daly in second. And of course, look at how short the track is, because there's Alan Kay just going through Clearways now, and there's Sean now just going through Clearways. He's only about 5 seconds behind him out on track. That is how costly a pit stop can be round here in Brands Hatch Indy, especially around the Indy circuit. But Sean onto lap 4 is going to lap somebody here, and he is going to lap Plaster. Plaster has been lapped out on track as Theo Daly has picked up a penalty, and Frank is sideways. That was Plaster and Frank getting some sort of contact there. Monster Energy livery bonnet coming off somebody's car. He was in the Monster livery car. This is War, it seems. This is War in the Monster Energy livery car. Not really having much of a bonnet there, to be honest. You can see the engine cover coming off. Sean runs through. Surtees and McLaren on the run through Clearways. And Sean needs a 2-second gap. Theo Daly's trying to catch him in second. May just be prone to a penalty. He has got a red warning next to him. That is indicating to me that he's got a second or a 2-second penalty at this stage. Frank in third. This is War in fourth. McKinnon for you is trying to catch on the back. He's 4/10 off at this stage. And in fact, this is War just putting one wheel into the gravel there on exit of the Clark Curve. As now is McKinnon for you going to attack around the outside. This is War just lets him through. No fight at all there from This Is War. And I think with the connection possibly, that's a sensible thing to do. So McKinnon for you is up to fourth. Not really a nice move, you can say, because that was just a bit of a let-through, to be honest. There's Andy in sixth, Mason seventh at this stage. They're separated by around a second out on track. And then it's Alan Kay and Plaster, who has already been lapped out on track. Drivers setting 52, 53 sort of average lap times around here currently at Brands Hatch Indy. We're already 5 minutes through. The sprint race going really quickly here. But the battle for the lead is one I'm going to focus on quite interestingly here, because Theo Daly quicker than Sean last time around, 52.4 compared to 52.8, and that is definitely going to cost him. Goes off the grass at Paddock Hill Bend. That back end does really tend to kick out in these cars, and if you're not running a stable setup, then you've got absolutely no chance to try and recover this back end. I've been commenting, as I say, on Gaffer Racing Clio Cup, so I know what these cars work like, and I know how these cars should be handled. And to be honest, the Gaffer Racing guys are handling these cars, I think in comparison to what we're seeing here, are handling a bit better compared to these guys who might have had practice. They might have not had practice. Of course, you've got to factor that. It's only a second clear. Theo Daly coming through Clark Curve, and this is on, we're now on lap 8 of the Brands Hatch Indy race, the sprint race, of course. Hopefully we might get the Grand Prix track to be featured later on, which will be coming, of course, after this race from feature race. Qualifying will also take place there as well. 15 minutes worth of qualifying, which is obviously good to see. But Sean leading the way, who drew a hairpin. Got Theo Daly all over the back of him now. 5/10 of a second. Is Sean possibly just saving a little bit? He looks like he might be struggling, in fact. And now, Theo Daly closing in. There's Frank in the background as well. Lights on, blazoning sky. He does realise it is actually dark. Oh, it's not dark, and Theo Daly is off a Clearways. He's going to do well to recover that. He tries to accelerate it through the gravel. That is never going to work. That's probably the best bit of off-roading I've seen in TTG Project cars this season for sure. Theo Daly down to third. Never go full pelt through the gravel because you will only lose time. I think that's what we're trying to say there. But out in front, it is Sean who leads the way, and it's looking good for Sean at this stage. Frank is right on the back of him though, only 3/10 as they approach Drew Tairpin on lap 9 of this race. We are halfway through here at Brands Hatch Indy, and it is Sean who leads the way from Frank in second, Theo Daly in third, McKinder for you in fourth. This is War in fifth, Andy in sixth, Mays in seventh, Alan Kay in eighth, Foster in 9th. There's just a brief rundown just to double check that they are in the right positions. But Frank right on the back, coming through clearways and now into the Clark curve. This is through clearways, now coming through the Clark curve. And Sean under pressure. Here comes Frank. Frank has got the inside line down the Brabham straight. The start finish straight for lap 10. It's side-by-side action here in the Clio Cup. And normally when the side-by-side action, it normally means it's contact. McKinder for you has gone past Leo Daly, who's at a moment. And Sean keeps the lead. Frank not going for the move there, which I think was quite wise on the inside. There is, these cars are quite prone to having contact. There is a blue flag appearing for Plaster in the bottom right-hand corner on the race feed. So that's just interesting to look. And there is a battle, in fact, between This Is War and Andy, who've had a little bit of contact. Andy goes around the outside of This Is War and gets the move done at Paddock Hill Bend for the first four. That is for 6th place. So, for 5th place. Andy's up to 5th. Back to the battle for lead. Sean under pressure. Frank making a little bit of contact on the rear end. Just knocks him out of the way slightly. But Frank will have the inside line. And he should have the move done here, in fact. He has got the run. And he's got the car ahead, but Sean with Slipstream is going to try and lose around the outside, and Frank again just opts not to go for the move. I'd love to see a nice side-by-side battle, to be honest, in the Paddock Hill Bend. I think that's what this race is really craving. 5 minutes and 45 seconds left, and it is Sean out in front, Frank in second, McKinder for you in third at this stage. There are battles going on further down, but this is the most important battle of it all, as Frank begins to attack the back end of Sean, and this is for first and second, so they're really gaining now onto the Cooper Straight through turn 3, now coming through turn 4 at 30s, then through turns 5 and 6, which is McLaren and Clearways. Sorry, McLaren and the Clark curve, or Clearways and the Clark curve I should say. Sean just running out wide, Frank following a similar line there. Got to stay within the slipstream. Is he going to try and go for a move this time around? We're going to go on to lap 12. 5 minutes left for 2/3 of the way through this race. And Sean leads the way. Frank in second, up to try and go around the outside there. Sean has a tendency to kick out the back end, and Frank has got the run. Frank has got a great run out of Paddock Hill Bend. Now up towards Druid's hairpin. Sean defending off. Oh, there's contact. There is contact. I'm not sure what on earth happened there. That'll be an interesting one to go back on the replay and see. But Sean, I'm not sure if he moved across on his line there. I'm not sure if there was contact on the back end and a possible outbreak from Frank. I don't know on that one. I'll have to have a review of that after this race, and I will review it live on the stream just to give an opinion on it. That's a bit of a strange one though. Frank has not really lost any time. He's 7.5 tenths off. He has lost a couple of tenths of a second, but if that, he's only lost that amount of time. Because that is Plaster, in fact, going in front of them, I do believe. Is Plaster? Let me just check. No, that's not Plaster. It's Alan Kay. That is Alan Kay out going towards the Druid hairpin. And he's just ahead of these guys. In fact, Maze and This Is War, an interesting battle. Maze is up to P6. And This Is War is getting a blue flag there, which is interesting. Frank right on the back of him on the Cooper Straight. Frank right on the back of Sean on the Cooper Straight. He will have Alan Kay to worry about as well soon. Traffic beginning to build at Brands Hatch. At the Indy circuit especially, it is very close in Constantina, especially if there's 32 cars like there is, or 30 cars like there is in British touring cars. There is a massive Constantina around this track. Is Frank surely not going to try it around the outside? Frank, is he going to be ballsy enough? Is he going to go around the outside of the Paddock Hill Bend? Again, no he's not. Not close enough. Well, he was close enough for a move. He could have easily tried to go around the outside on the power, but not quite. So run up the hill for the Druid's hairpin. Sean leading the way. Frank right on the back. McKinder for you could get into it still, and Sean just slowing up Frank. He really wants to win. A little bit of the flashing lights there from Frank. Getting a little bit frustrated perhaps. Sean looking good. Oh, it's contact! Oh no, oh, that's a major impact. That's a major impact. Frank trying to hang it around the outside. I think what I would have done there is just feather off the throttle and let him go slightly. Sean very slow out the corner. McKinder for you is now up to second, lets him through, so McKinder for you into second. Contact made between Sean and Frank. Such a shame that contact was made. Frank will still continue on. He's only got 2 minutes and 25 seconds left. There they are in the background of shot, running down the Brabham Straight on lap 15. And of this 15-minute sprint race, it's been totally chaotic from my end anyways. It's been totally chaotic. Sean leading the way now by 4 seconds the gap. McKinder for you in second, Frank in third. Theo Daly still with that penalty, sliding the back end nicely through turn 1 in fact. That's at Paddock Hill Bend. Andy in fifth, trying to catch. I thought he had his engine bonnet up through the visor for some reason there. Mason 6th, this is War in 7th. Alan Kay in 8th, still hanging on, trying to not be lapped. We have got 2 more laps left, I do believe, of on-track action. 1 minute, yeah, it's about a 50-second lap, so Sean will be coming across the line. About a minute and 32 seconds, I would say, to come. 50 seconds, so we'll be about 45 seconds from the end of this race when they come around next time around for the last lap of the race. But Sean leading the way, McKinder for you in second. 3.7 seconds is the gap currently. We have got a comment, I will check them in just a little while. And TTG Sean currently leads the way. McKinder for you, doing a great job, trying to hang on. There's Frank in third, just going through Paddock Hill, Druid's Hairpin. I'm messing up the corners now. Theo Daly in fourth, trying to hang on. Andy is catching with damage, I may add as well. Mays, there's been no changes really to the order. This is War, goes for a bit of a half spin through turn 1. That is Alan Kane, that is Plaster down in 9th place. 3 seconds the gap currently at this stage. And Sean hanging on. 40 seconds left. So Sean comes across the line to start the final lap of this race. This will be the final lap of this race, I do believe. So Sean, on to the final lap he goes. He's got Alan Kay ahead of him. Alan Kay might be getting blue flag warnings very soon if Sean is quick enough. 52.9 compared with 52.2 last time around. McKinder for you is catching, but not the race. You probably want to see a 100% race here, and then he can catch him well and truly. Might be able to get him, you know, in the next race. Who knows? But Sean, with 10 seconds to go out on track, 10 seconds to go in this race, it is going to be Sean that's going to be taking this win. 2.6 seconds the gap, and it's looking good from his perspective. McKinder for you, Frank, and Theo Daly going to round off second, third and fourth it seems. Round the final corner, that's Alan Kay getting out of the way. Sean is about to come across the line to win here at Brands Hatch Indy. There we go, yeah. Sean wins from McKinder for you in second. Alan Kay just coming across the line as well. Frank is going to finish in third. Theo Daly hanging on round clock curve for the final time. He's 2 seconds and keeping that gap to Andy, so he comes across the line in fourth. Might have a bit of a penalty situation there, so Andy might jump ahead of Theo Daly if he's not careful. May's going to be coming across the line in sixth. We're going to have This Is War coming across the line in 7th as well. He might be the last one to complete. We've had Alan Kay. Plaster about to come across the line as well, so we will have everyone. There's Plaster, there's This Is War, they're across the line. And that is the sprint race finished. But don't worry, we've got more action coming. We have got, as Andy, by the way, picked up a penalty. That must have been on the last lap he picked that up. But there's the result. Sean on top, McKinder for you in second, Frank in third, Theo Daly in fourth, Andy in fifth, Mason sixth, This Is War in seventh, Alan Kay in 8th and Plaster in 9th place. So very good racing there. Bit still in F1. Sean leading. Did everyone else crash? No. Sean started from, I think it was second place on the grid. If you do watch it back, his fastest lap was a 52.5. McKinder for you 51.9, and even further down, Theo Daly and Frank scoring a 51.4 fastest lap. So they were around on average, I would say 1.1 seconds quicker than Sean. But Sean, keeping it on the track and within the white lines, has won here. And I've been, as long as everyone does ready up in the lobby, we can move on back into the lobby for the next race. And I've just realised Formula E is about to start in 10 minutes as well for the New York E-Prix. So it's going to be coming on very soon as well. But Sean, 3-second win in the end. McKinder for you second. Frank in third. Hopefully everyone does ready up. There we go. We're just loading into the menu now. So we should be loading back into the lobby here. And there was another comment actually in the comment section. Let me just have a look at this. I can't comment through an easy win away in TTL F1 on Thursday by crashing into the pit wall, which I did pick up in commentary as well, I may add. I did pick up in commentary. Formula E, very boring. I think it's better than F1 though. At this moment in time, I think Formula E, the quality of racing, I think is better than F1. You do get more overtakes in F1 though. I can't really debate that, to be honest. I like both equally, but I'm more of an F1 fan than a thingy fan. We have lost a driver, by the way, I think. Yeah, we have lost somebody. I'm not sure who we've lost. Somebody pick up a name for me. We have lost somebody. I don't know who we've lost, but we've lost somebody from the grid. So we've only got 8 drivers out on track currently. Brands Hatch Indy is still being maintained. 30-minute race here, and qualifying. We're going to have a qualifying session. We might have a qualifying session. It hasn't been set up yet. I think Alan Kay might be doing that now, to be honest. And I am just going to go downstairs for a drink because my voice is starting to ache now. So I'll be back in 2 minutes' time. I'm going to put my mic on mute so you will hear some lovely music. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Apologies there, I was caught a bit off guard for the start of qualifying. I thought I had enough time to get a drink sorted and everything like that. We are sticking to the Brands Hatch Indy layout for the second race, so all the corners that you've been seeing out on track will be there. So McKinder for You is about to start a lap around here on in qualifying, and hopefully everyone is enjoying the comments, is enjoying the stream so far. I'm a bit out of breath at this stage. Thank you very much, Spike. Yeah, it's not hard. It's not easy to fill in Mr. McGinley's spot, to be honest. It is definitely not easy at all. So hopefully I've been doing a good job by steadying the ship for this week. Until Formula E can race on proper tracks and not have the gimmicks, it's not there, but maybe in the future. But yeah, I'm back. I'm a bit out of breath, so I do apologise for that. But McKinder for You is on the lap. He will be one of the first to set a competitive lap time. Of course, 15 minutes of qualifying if you are unfamiliar to the TTG Project Cars layout. And of course, if you are new to this and you don't know who I am or what this is TTG Project Cars 2. I'm JamesHead14, your commentator. McKinder for You just coming across the line, sets quickest lap with a 51.4, which is some sort of lap time for what you've been seeing. And he goes off track in celebration of that fastest lap, and he goes back into the pits. This is the only other one. The 53.3. In fact, Andy set a 1 minute .0, 6-0 there. And Sean as well. Out on a lap, it seems. He's out on an out lap. Of course, the winner of the sprint race. Is he going to try and do the Grand Slam and go and win here? Go and get pole position in qualifying, and then get the win as well in the feature race. Try and complete the Grand Slam. He goes third though with a 53.5, so a nice lap there, and he is only 0.2 of a second off this as Wall. So in comparison to lap times as he saw in the race, McKinder for you seems to be the one that is maintaining that pace. Everyone else, of course, will get quicker as the session progresses. Theo Daly just coming through McLaren, up clearways and through into the clock curve. That's Clio Daly running wide there. Theo Daly on a lap. And down there, these cars do not go that quick. They can reach in excess of 150 miles an hour. Trust me, they can. And I have tried that before, and they do. Andy's gone second with a 52 flat. Theo Daly must have been valid. No, he's on an out lap. He took out one of the boards there. Alan Kay is on an out lap. Frank might be on a lap here. See what Frank can do. As Sean, in fact, improves to second, 52.5. 1.8 seconds separating the four that have set times currently. Frank, their team in the Volmer Racing livery. Of course, Volmer, very fragile name within the Renault Clio Cup, especially from my time at Gabba Racing, of course. Theo Daly on a lap and Alan Kay on a lap. So we'll take on board with Theo Daly coming through clearways, now through the clock curve. Theo Daly doing a nice job. Of course, he was consistently up there in the top three for most of the sprint race, so watch out for him possibly in the feature race if he puts in a good qualifying performance here. 2.9 seconds off the pace, 54.4, quite a respectable lap there. Alan Kay now comes across the line, 4.1, so not bad up there from the Irishman at all. And of course, a co-commentator of mine that I have commentated with, Andy has set an even quicker lap, 51.8, so he's only 0.4 off McKinder for you now, as Frank is about to come across the line to set a competitive lap. We have still got Mays in the pits for Schuer, 52.3 for Frank, goes third. We've got Mays for Schuer, he's just coming out of the pits, and Plaster is out. And he's still in the pit lane as well. So we will have everyone else, bar Plaster, out on track very soon. In fact, Plaster, he must have heard me in the comments, he must have heard me in the commentary box, because he's now coming out on track, which is good to see. So we will have everyone out on track. Space going to be at a premium, possibly with only 9 cars out on the grid. There's 2 just came into the pits, that's McKinder for you and Alan Kay. And Sean, sorry, just coming out of the pits. Once again, oh, he's just came in the pits, in fact, Sean. As Andy is on a personal best lap, he is a 10th, nearly a 10th and a half up through the middle sector. Of course, there is 3 very short sectors round here in Brands Hatch Indy. Of course, the Grand Prix layout is spaced out quite vastly compared to this one. Alan Kay does improve. In fact, he hasn't improved. Frank, though, has set a 51.5. We're 6 minutes into the session. McKinder for you on top. Frank in second, going 500s quicker, so we'll stay on board with this. Of course, every lap that these guys set will probably get quicker and quicker as the time progresses through the session, of course. But McKinder for you, it's a 10th up now for Frank. Really gaining on the Volmer Racing livery. Project Cars game sponsorship on the side of the car, as always. They have to get it in somewhere. Frank is about to come across the line very shortly indeed. Set the fastest lap. Frank with a 51.3. Very nice lap, goes a 10th quicker than McKinder for you, who is just behind him out on track, and I think he's just started a lap here, in fact, as well. Have we got Andy on a lap? No, McKinder for you. Let's see what he's going to be like through Druid's Hairpin and through the first sector he goes. First sector time is 0.6 off, so McKinder for you having that sideways moment at turn 1 at Paddock Hill Bend. That is Plaster ran the wrong way. Plaster ran the wrong way. Coming out of Graham Hill Bend on the Cooper Straight. Must got caught on the curb and spun the car. There is a car inbound towards him, and I'm not sure who that is. It is Andy on a lap, the Scotsman on a lap. He has invalidated for track limits again, as Andy, which is a shame. Frank goes even quicker, now a 10th and a half clear. So a bit of an improvement once again there from Frank, 51.3. Everyone else setting lap times. Clarkson just came across the line, by the way. That's not a time that you should into retrospect, and he gets out of the way of Andy, in fact, as well, comes back into the pits. Alan Kay improves 1.1 seconds, 52.9, up 1.6 off the lead, and Mays 1.7 off the front of qualifying at this stage, led by Frank at 51.3, 51.4 for McKinley for you, and 51.8 for Andy. They're the only three in the 51s at the minute in time, at this moment in time, with just under 7 minutes to go. We are more than halfway through here in commentary, in qualifying, I should say, not commentary. I was having a look down at the comments when I said that, so forgive me. You and Kieran together would be good, as you both have the enthusiasm for racing. I totally agree. I'd love to comment with all TTG commentators at some point very soon, because I think the enthusiasm that we all bring really unites us as a team and brings on our drivers as a result. Mays apparently had a moment at Graham Hill Bend. I've just picked up in the comment section a Paddock Hill Bend, and that was from Spike. To be honest, Spike, I didn't see that, so you picked up on something that I didn't see, so that's probably why I should be looking at the screen and not looking at my iPad. But there we go. But just under 6 minutes to go. Frank is still on top, McKinley for you in second, Andy in third. McKinley for you, in fact, has he? No, he hasn't. He's not improved at all. Alan Kay, though, was improved, 51.8. Andy coming across the line, 9/10 off the pace at this stage. Alan Kay looks like he's had a bit of a moment. That engine bonnet looks like it's going to come up at any second. Bit of a visor glitch going on there as well. Alan Kay not across the line. Sean, 51.9. I'm getting plenty in the 51s now. The only ones not to be in the 51s are Mays, 1.1 seconds off on his lap there. Theo Daly, 53.8. Mays, by the way, 53 flat. And then Plaster, I think he might be having to sit out the session, unless he's going to come, out with a couple of minutes to go. I think that's what he probably will opt to do. Hopefully, it'll be great to see everyone out on track again. McKinley for you across the line, not improving at all. Andy coming across the line. Let's see if he can improve. He does an only 500ths off there on that lap. Andy decided to literally bung it into the pits. Alan Kay about to come across on the Irishman. Got a car ahead of him, not improving there. And that car ahead of him was Theo Daly. Theo Daly. We have lost This Is War, by the way, just to pick up on who we lost. We have lost This Is War, possibly down to connection issues. Unless he could only make one race, then that would be great. And I have just had a bit of a brainwave idea that I'm going to mention to Mays later on this evening, and it does include a possible TTG Discord. I'm not sure if there is one, but that's what I want to see implemented within the team. I think it'll be a good social platform to use. Mays improving here, in fact, 700ths of a second, coming through sector 2, now through clearways and running through Clark Curve once more. And it is looking really good this lap so far from Mays. 700 up, taking the deeper line. You can gain time as a result. Mays across the line improves 0.2 per second. So he is still not in the 51. He's getting desperately close to setting the 51 lap time, and he pulls off on track. That's a good attempt to pull off there, to be honest, there from Mays. Not getting in the way of anyone, which is good to see. But there we go. There we go. But Frank still out on top with 51.3. 51.4 as Sean runs over the curb. Completely cuts the second sector. He slowed down as a result. Unless he'll get a penalty. He would have got a penalty if he didn't slow down then. Of course, lap time's invalidated. I'm not surprised in seeing that at all in the race feed. Everyone else, it's only 7/10 separating Frank to Mays. Nearly 0.8 per second separating those guys. Somebody is off at turn 1. That was Alan Kay off at turn 1. That's Plaster off as well. There is Alan Kay just rejoining on track, coming up to Druid Hairpin. Frank is still in the pits. He seems confident. I wouldn't be so confident. I'd be trying to get out on track and improve that lap if I was him. might not need much improving, but seriously, McKinnon is only a 10th off in the first sector. If he finds something through the middle here, there's only the Cooper straight and then coming through into McLaren. McKinnon for you now, 2/10 off. He has lost a little bit more time. Frank can breathe a little sigh of relief, I think. As Theo Daly has gone third, in fact. I've just picked up on that. Theo Daly has gone third, 51.6, 3/10 off. So a nice qualifying session from him so far. There is Frank coming out of the pits on the left-hand side of your screen. McKinnon for you not improving. We should see a few drivers begin to come back into the pits possibly. As Andy is a 10th and a half up through middle sector. Now into clearways. Attacking turn 5 and then turn 6 Clark curve. Through the Clark curve they go. He goes for the final time, possibly on a lap. On a competitive lap. Andy about to come across the line. Is he improving? Yes, he does. He goes third. And only 600ths of a second off McKinder for you. So Andy 51.5. McKinder for you 51.4. See if he's improving. A minute to go in the session. And Frank is still out on top. It's getting very desperately close between the top 4, I would say. 3/10 per second separating the top 4. Very close qualifying. 7/10 separating top 7. And only Plaster struggling. In fact, he is 5/10 up here. Plaster is 5/10 up. Let's see what he's going to do. In the... I'm trying to pick up on what livery that is. I think it's the Shellstone Systems livery that they're on. Plaster across the line, improves 1.3 seconds, much better improvement, 53 flat. Still not on top of any of the guys. Hopefully we'll see some improvements. He's leaving his best laps till last. Let's go on board with somebody else. Let's go on board with Alan Kay. He's got more damage to that car. Running wide, taking the wide out line, you can gain time. Sean's about to come across the line as well. He is there. There is Sean. Alan Kay comes into pits. That's his session done. That's Sean's session done, surely, as well. Just trying to pick up on somebody. Qualifying has been completed. McKinder for you, not improving. Frank about to come across the line. Is he going any quicker? Frank across the line, 51.3 is his current best. No improvement shown for Frank, and he is finishing qualifying. Plaster around the final corner at Clark Curve. Running down the Brabham straight. Plaster... He improves again, 52.8, can't manage anything more improvement than that. Sean is attacking through the middle sector, nearly losing control of the car. Andy not improving in third either. So I think it is only Sean and somebody else that we are waiting for at this stage. Sean decides to opt to go into the pit and he's totally pumped it into the pit. He's probably sent the marshals absolutely flying there. If that was in real life, marshals and the crowd would be running for cover. Goodness me. Goodness me. But 30 minutes endurance rest about to begin. We should have action starting in about a minute's time. And until then, predict your top 3 in the comment section. I'm going to go for random McKinder for you, Andy, Frank, top 3. There we go. Oh, well, there we go. About 30 seconds until the start, unless everyone readies up as soon as possible. Only 8 drivers out on track. Hopefully we doesn't get into a bit of a boredom rest here. The small comments came through in the sections. Maybe for TTL F2 I will join you as a co-commentator, says Spike. Possibly. I'd like that, to be honest. I would really like that. Very close time. Spike was drifting all over the place, says Maze. Not sure if Spike's even racing in this. Don't think he is. Well, there we go. Might got confused with somebody. Might be Sean that he was on about, unless it was F1 he was on about, of course. As we are about to get started anytime soon. Should be getting started very soon. I haven't got my speedo and map up. There we go. Seems a bit incomplete there without the map and the speedo, to be honest. But we should get going very shortly. It's just a moment of the waiting game, really. 30 minutes of feature race about to begin anytime soon. So just give you a rundown of the order. Frank, McKinder for you, Andy, Theo Daly, Alan Kay, Sean, Mays and Plaster. That is your 8 drivers out on track in that particular order. Here we go. Finally, We're about to get started. Everyone's sinking in. 30 minutes of endurance racing about to begin. The light sequence is on. We're about to go green for the feature race, and it's lights out and away we go. Good start by Frank. Gets a much better start than McKinnon for you. Andy, Theo Daly up the inside of Andy, possibly into Paddock Hill for the first time. Not quite. Sean trying to go around the outside as well. Oh, Theo Daly's close contact. It's made a knock-on effect. Andy caught up in that as well, but Theo Daly pays the price for his outbreak through turn 1, and that is going to cost him, as we see. McKinnon for you, and Frank, in fact, really attacking him. Andy and Sean, 3rd and 4th. Dramatic start already. McKinnon for you, hanging off Frank so far. So we better go through the first minute of this race, and on the first lap, McKinnon for you through the second sector. McKinnon for you leads 0.2 of a second, 0.3 of a second now, just gaining that gap a little bit out. Be interesting to see how much these guys are on average compared to each other on pace. But across the line, at the end of lap 1, McKinnon for you leads the way. 58.8 or 59 flat, quicker than last time in the sprint race, in fact, that. McKinnon for you leading. Frank in 2nd, Andy in 3rd. He's got past Mays. After that bit of contact with Theo Daly. Theo Daly, I think, at fault there, and he's still back down in 6th. Is Theo Daly. Sean has got him down the inside. Sean has got Andy down the inside, has he? Andy defended down the inside. Nice stuff. Sean and Andy. Ooh. A little bit side-by-side action coming out of Graham Hill Bend. McKinnon for you leading, 0.4 of a second. Frank in 2nd. It's Sean in 3rd, who has gained 0.4 of a second on Andy. Of course, Slipstream will help. Slipstream is a big help in these cars. And McKinnon for you leading the way across the line, 52.4 compared with 52.6. And in fact, Sean, 52.1 last time around on lap 2. Everyone just settling down into their rhythm now, and the battle for lead develops. McKinnon for you and Frank. I may go a little bit inactive during this commentary, just give you a little bit of a sense of the engine noises and whatever, and as well. So McKinnon for you leads the way. Frank in 2nd, Sean in 3rd. No real changes down the order either. Theo Daly is making ground. He has gone past 2 of the TTG guys, which are Foster and Alan Kay. Theo Daly is through and he's up to 6th. May's just losing a little bit of time there as well, but back to the battle for the lead. End of lap 3. McKinnon for you. Let's see the times. Top 4 separated by 1.3 seconds as they come across the line. 51.6 and 51.2 for Andy and Sean respectively in behind. That is the real effect and advantage of being in behind the leader, because the slipstream is really, really effective. Any track you go to, the slipstream is really effective in these cars, I've got to be honest. But McKinnon for you leads the way. Frank in 2nd, hanging on 0.3 of a second. That gap just extends out a little bit. We'll go on board. Let's go on board with Frank right on the back and give you a sense of what the input is as they come down the Brabham straight on lap 4. Frank decides to try and go for a move down the inside. Let's give you a bit of sense of the engine noise here down the Brabham straight. And you can really tell by the sense of Frank going through Paddock Hill Bend there with camber, the ever-changing camber of the corner. And in fact, is Frank going to try and go for the move here? We'll go back to trackside cam. Andy's gone past Sean in the background as well, so he's up to 3rd. Andy is up to 3rd past Sean. But McKinnon for you and Frank is going to have the inside line, and wisely McKinnon for you decides to back off. That is very wise. They did have contact. It was Frank and Sean in the last race that had contact. Of course, he might have seen that race and just thought, well, I don't want to get myself anything. But top 4 separated by a second out on track as we approach the 5-minute mark. Nearly 5 minutes through here, the sprint race. As Frank leads the way, McKinnon for you in 2nd, Andy in 3rd. Sean trying to pressurise Andy into a bit of a mistake, but Andy is starting to pressurise McKinnon for you, who is dropping time now, and you can really see the last time around 53.1 compared to 52 flat, but Andy was 1.1 seconds quicker the last time around, and he is going to try and sense a move into Graham Hill Bend. Not quite close enough. Possibly through Clark Curve, I'm imagining them going side by side here. But Frank leading the way, 0.5 of a second. Needs to begin to battle, just letting them get away out in front. But still, for 1.2 seconds, separating the top 4 out on track. Theo Daly, by the way, just give him an update. Has been thingied. And Sean, has he been, or was that on the race feed? No, that's on the race feed from old. I'm thinking he's been disqualified for pit lane violation. That was in qualifying that happened. Andy trying to go down the inside of Paddock Hill Bend for on lap 7, trying to go for the move on McKinder for you. We are 5 minutes through. Thank you for tuning in. It is Frank who leads the way, McKinder for you, Andy in 3rd, and then Sean in 4th. And really, there's 2 separate races going on. You've got the battle for the lead, the 4-way battle for the lead, separated by 1.5 seconds, as Andy is right all over the back of McKinder for you. Got to be very difficult here. McKinder for you, defend them off well. Andy, I think, knows these cars. He doesn't want to get caught on the back end of him. Sean runs across McLaren, completely cuts the corner there, gains a little bit of time as a result. Might just be warranting a penalty, possibly, if he doesn't slow down. That will, of course, end up being around a 1 or 2 second penalty, I would imagine. But Frank leads the way, McKinder for you 2nd, Andy in 3rd. Then it's Sean in 4th as they come round Paddock Hill Bend on lap 8 of goodness knows how many laps. It'll probably be around 33 laps as McKinder for you. Frank has made a mistake out of turn 1, and McKinder for you up the inside of Druid's hairpin, gets the move on. There's contact, there's major contact. Andy, I think, just overpaced it down the inside. He saw a gap that wasn't there, was closing up all the time by Frank. A little bit of a racing incident, I would imagine. I'll go back on the replay after the race and have a look. But McKinder for you has now got a little bit of a gap after contact made between Frank and Andy. Hopefully Andy will come in the comment section after the race and maybe apologise. I'm not sure who was at fault there, as I say. We'll have a look at that after the race. But McKinder for you leads the way at lap 9 here. We are 8 minutes through. McKinder for you leads the way. Frank in 2nd. Sean in 3rd and Andy in 4th. Then we have got Mays in 5th, Alan Kay in 6th, Theo Daly in 7th, and Plastronette struggling, it seems, in 8th place. He has got a bit of damage, as we see. Again, Frank trying to attack the back end of McKinder for you. And I obviously have seen these cars race before in the Gaffer Clio Cup. And I've got to say, these guys are putting on a great show, because there was very close racing. There was really close racing in that championship, and there must have been a 10-lap battle between 2 of these guys. But seriously, go and watch that back that I commentated on, because it was absolutely ridiculously good. And this is also ridiculously good as well, as Frank tries to eye up a move down into Paddock Hill Bend. As I say, 2 separate races going on, 1.5 seconds separating. Let's go then on board with Frank once again and give you a sense of what it's like, because he could be going for a move here, in fact, around the outside, possibly into Graham Hill Bend, just feathers off the throttle and could have the inside run. Not quite. Let's give you a sense then, running down through Clio with the steering input and of course the sound of these beautiful Renault Clio Cups. So I take a break from commentary for about a minute. Getting very close in behind Andy and Sean. Side by side! Side by side, that was contact, never going to work. That was right on the wall there. Not sure who was at fault, but Sean and Andy make contact. Sean, is he going to wait up for him? I think he is. I think Sean is waiting up for him. Sean is waiting up for him and letting Andy through. That is good sportsmanship there, Sean. And Andy back ahead of Sean. Good sportsmanship shown there between those two. Has ruined the battle, forward battle for the lead. It's now condensed it down into 3 separate races now, really. Frank leads the way for McKinder for you, and Frank has actually got past. Frank has got past somewhere. I think it must have been on the exit of Graham Hill Bend onto the Cooper Straight. So now McKinder for you is down in 2nd. I didn't catch that. So Frank leads. McKinder for you 2nd, Andy in 3rd. at this stage. As my voice starts to go finally. Frank leads the way. We're 10 minutes through. Frank leads the way. McKinnon for you in second, Andy in third, Sean in fourth. Then it is Mays, Theo Daly. It's Alan Kay, Theo Daly. Daly going for a bit of a half spin. Somebody's been knocking off the polystyrene boards as well. Placer in seventh and Mays in eighth. Must have had a bit of a spin. McKinnon for you trying to go around the outside of Clearways, which would have been a great move to pull off. But at this stage, still side by side, well, not side by side, still line astern as they run down the Brabham straight. McKinnon for you opting to go for a move, not quite. Never going to work, I think, as Frank slides out of Paddock Hill Bend there. McKinnon for you trying to go up the inside. Outside line being hung there by Frank. That's going to help with traction on the exit of the corner. That has helped dearly, and Andy is into the pits. Andy into the pits. Has he got a drive-through penalty, I wonder? I think he might have. I think Andy's got a drive-through penalty for that contact with Sean as McKinnon for you goes into the lead. Round the outside. That is on the inside line. Through turn 4. That is on the inside line through Surtees, that is. Still not good with corner names, am I? But McKinnon for you leading the way. Frank in second. 18 minutes and 30 seconds remaining of this race. And it's looking good for these two out in front. Of course, Andy Pettin has just thrown the race a bit on its head. And it could all develop up into a big mid-pack battle with Andy possibly coming through the field to gain. But at this stage, it's looking good for McKinnon for you. 4 tenths of a second. Frank in second. But McKinnon for you hanging on out in front. 53.1, 53.7 McKinnon for you, and Frank last time around. 18 minutes left in the race on the clock. As Claire Cottingham likes to say in W Series. But McKinnon for you leading the way. And about to be lapped, in fact, is Mays. Mays about to be lapped here. 51 second laps, but it's honestly only about 43, 44 seconds for these guys to actually lap somebody around here. It's quite weird. Quite a strange one. As McKinnon for you, Frank has got to try it around the outside of Graham Hill Bend. Doesn't quite go for the move. They try and see an opportunity to move down the inside. Coming towards Surtees. And Frank is going to be up the inside. McKinnon for you backs off, and Frank is through. Frank is into the lead of the race. So Frank into the lead of the race. McKinnon for you back down to second. Bit of a lock up there, in fact, from the leader. He has gained time as a result. Sean now in third. Theo Daly in fourth. Plaster in fifth. Andy in sixth. Mays in seventh. Alan Kay is in the pits. Pitting for, it seems, damage. He is into the pits. His wheels are moving. He should get going very soon, unless he's gone for coffee. From McKinnon for you in second. Now 6 tenths off, and Frank might finally have the measure of him here as we approach the halfway stage. But back to the action, with Frank leading the way, 1.1 seconds. McKinnon for you struggling now, it seems, as Frank begins to pile on that pressure. And he will have Mays in front of him as well to worry about as well. So he will have something to worry about there. But Frank added from 1.3 seconds. Arguably, you can say he's been the quickest driver out on track. That was proven last time around, in fact, 51.8 compared to 52.8 of McKinnon for you. So nearly a second difference for Frank compared to McKinnon for you. Sean still in third, 8.4 seconds off, struggling to try and catch these guys. Of course, if it did split the group, this group has split completely with contact made between Frank and Andy earlier on. We approach the halfway stage. 1.3, 1.2, coming to the second sector again. I'm just going to go a little bit quiet for the minute as well. I've just realised it's mandatory pit stops. No, no wonder people are pitting in. It's mandatory pit stops. Oh my. Completely ignore what I've been going on about. Honestly, it's up. Mandatory pit stops. That's why everyone's pitting and getting laps. I've just realised that now. Oh dear. Yeah, it's been a very stressful time for me. But McKinnon Fury is struggling now. Frank is gaining, so everyone has got to pit and make a mandatory pit stop. I may just point that out now. Everyone has got to do that. Plaster runs wide in the background there. He has been lapped. He is down in 7th at the minute, just ahead of Alan Cage, about 20 seconds ahead of him at this stage. Is Frank going to opt to come into the pits to serve his mandatory pit stop? No. Is McKinnon for you going to do that? No. Not yet. Give you a bit more sound of these engines as they run down the straight. 14 minutes to go. Frank leads, McKinnon for you second, Sean in third. Moves into the pits. I'm going to try and restore my voice as much as possible during this commentary, so if I do, as I say, go a little bit quiet, then I'm not totally ignoring you or blanking you or anything. I'm just trying to rest up a little bit of my voice. I have got a drink next to me as well. Fall commentary's taking its toll finally on me, I think. Plus graduation yesterday. All beginning to take its toll. But I'm still here, I'm still going, 13 minutes to go. And it's Frank in first, McKinnon for you second, these guys in second and third. There's Theo Daly just coming into the pits, by the way, out of position. And Theo Daly crashes into the pits. Goodness me, we could have had a bit of a Grosjean moment there in Silverstone free practice. Goodness me, crashing into the pits, not crashing rather out. And in fact, Theo Daly has missed his pit stop there. Was that? Did you see that right? I swear I've just seen that in reverse. But Frank leading the way, McKinnon for you in second, Andy in third. As Frank leads 9/10 of a second, and McKinnon for you, in fact, is trying to get going now. I'm not sure. Don't think these two, if I recall, have been into the pits just yet. So these two are going to be fighting for track position, but they're going to have to be wary here of the pit stops advantage here, because because Andy, 27.3 seconds behind, could still have some sort of squeak in this, you know. $11 minutes and 50 seconds to go. Frank leading the way, McKinnon for you in second, and it's Andy in third. All of it of a mess up now, really, the order. Thought McKinnon for you was going to try this. Still going round out on track. These guys have got to realise the mandatory pit stop does. The mandatory pit stops do have to be made. Andy in third, Sean in fourth. It's got Alan Kay on the back, lapped. I was going to say lagging there. Mays in fifth. Theo Daly in sixth, taking an excursion off. Goodness me, he's trying to go for. I think he's trying to go for Dover there. Jesus. Theo Daly off track. He has lost that position, in fact, to Plaster. So Plaster is through. And then Theo Daly in seventh and Alan Kay in eighth. Leaders still not coming through. There's Mays right in the middle of this pack at this stage. Frank leading the way. These two have got to pit. And there we go. McKinnon Few's in. McKinnon Few is into the pit, undercutting Frank. The undercut is now possible for McKinnon Few. He decides to drive into the pits. It is a mandatory pit stop, of course. He doesn't want to over-race himself into the pits. He stops right on cue of his pits, and the tyres come off and tyres are back on again. McKinnon Few should be coming out of the pits very, very shortly indeed. And when he does, we'll continue with the commentary. So McKinley for you coming back out of the pits. Is he weaving in the pits there? Might be weaving in the pits. Andy has already gone past. So has Sean, in fact. So really, the undercut is non-existent around this track at all. There's Mays. There's McKinley for you. McKinley for you has got out ahead of Mays. It's only Frank then that needs to pit. I do recall. Frank just needs to pit. And then we'll all be fine for the mandatory pit stops. I think he's going to try and leave it as much as possible and then possibly go splash and dash, which only really works on GT Sport, I may add. Doesn't really work on this game unless it's a proper endurance race. But Frank leading the way, 27.1 seconds. He's still yet to make his pit stop. We're on lap 24. We've got less than 10 minutes left, and Frank leading the way. I would imagine he should come into the pits this lap. He has to come into the pits this lap. And looking at the throttle input, yes he is. There we go. Frank is into the pits. Frank is in. So that's going to leave Andy then out in front with a 5-second lead to Sean, I do believe. Watch out for the pit stops around here, because Frank could be behind or in front of McKinley for you. This is going to be so close. He just needs to put on the new sets of tyres. He goes past his pit box, in fact. He has gone past his pit box. He needs to get back into reverse here. Frank has totally messed this up. Frank has totally messed up coming into the pits. And then he goes back. He finally gets taken this fuel being added as well. He gets going, but that's going to cost him. There's Andy. There is Andy, in fact. Just coming past the start-finish line now. And Frank is going to be out ahead of Sean here. And he's going to be out ahead, in fact, in front of traffic, because there's Alan Kay as well. Frank out in front of these two. Just about. So Frank in second. He can now put the hammer down. 5.4 seconds, the gap. Currently, at this stage, separating Andy, who has got a penalty. He's the only one, bar Theo Daly, who's also got a penalty as well. But Andy is the only one on the top 5 that's got a penalty. And clips up on the curb there, Frank. Goodness me. Can send the car rolling. I have sent the car rolling before at Brands Hatch around here in these cars before, so trust me, and it's not a nice feeling at all. Sean right on the back, 4/10 off. McKinley for you, and Sean, in fact, that's Alan Kay off into the gravel. Alan Kay off into the gravel. 7 minutes and 20 seconds to go. Battle for second heating up. Andy, 6 seconds out in front. Can the Scotsman hold on? Can Sean attack Frank's back end? It's all questions will be answered in the next 7 minutes of this race. Oh, there we go. Nice and refreshing drink there. Nice and refreshing. But Andy leads 5.7 seconds. I don't think that gap is going to come down dramatically. Frank beginning to catch. There's Sean in third. There is Frank just coming through Surtees and McLaren, now up into Clearways and Clark Curve. 6 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock. No battles going on, sadly. This is really the only closest battle that's going on. Frank and Sean separating by 1.3 seconds. That is the closest thing we've got to any sort of battle unfolding out on track. But Andy leading the way. Frank in second, Sean in third, and McKinley for you in fourth. Totally underdone his strategy, I think. Not sure if he made a mistake coming into the pits. Hopefully we'll engage some reaction with him after. Alan Kay just locking up a Druid Hairpin there in the background. Totally losing touch, and has he just picked up a penalty, in fact? I think he has, yeah. Alan Kay has just picked up a penalty. There's Plaster Ballaway in seventh. Mason fifth, Theo Daly in sixth. But really, the two that you want to be watching, Frank and Sean, second and third at this stage in the race. Lap 28. Andy leading, Frank in second. Sean in third and McKinley for you in fourth, and it's all looking nice at this moment in time for Andy, but that gap is coming down. That gap is coming down as somebody has gone for an excursion off. That was Alan Kay at turn one. I saw that in the background. I was thinking, well, where on earth is he going? Trying to go for Calais, I think, there. Alan Kay, this week, doesn't put away from himself that he's still got a penalty. He has got a car behind him. That is McKinley for you behind him. Of course, he's got to get out of the way. Blue flags will be in operation I would imagine there would be anyways. McKinda for you. Alan Kay, beautifully done that. Just done off camera, but he has lost. And Sean has made a mistake, in fact. Sean has lost a good second there to Frank, which is quite interesting. So maybe the battle for second not really getting going, but Frank, I think he's just pulling away at this stage. 52-0, 52-4 last time around, as Plaster and Theo Daly get battling for 6th and 7th at this stage. 4 minutes and 20 seconds to go. Theo Daly, Plaster's through up the inside. Theo Daly down to 7th and getting caught into the gravel there briefly as well. Plaster's up to 6th, Theo Daly in 7th. As Andy comes through Clark Curve to start lap 30. Yes, 3-0, lap 30 here with 4 minutes to go. We should be seeing, I would think, at least another 4 laps. At least another 4 laps possibly here, including this one that we are on. But Andy leads out in front. Frank in second, 4.6 seconds this gap. Can he close that gap with 3 minutes and 40 seconds left? I highly doubt it, but you never know. This is Frank. This is Frank we're talking about, and he is a quick driver. Andy, though, was holding his own out in front. And really, since the pit stops, Frank has only gained around a second and a half, maybe, if that. And Frank, currently in second place. He has pulled away from Sean in the meantime. He's a bit in no man's land at the minute. Nobody really helping him. He hasn't got really like a group to help him to try and get back onto the onto the coattails of Andy. As 4.8 seconds is the gap coming across the line to start lap 31. Frank goes on to lap 31 now. Battle for 6th, by the way. Theo Daly has gone past Plaster again. 1.4 seconds separating those guys. I'm just giving myself a little bit of a fan, by the way, while I commentate on the action. I'm very, very warm and sweaty at this stage. It's probably because of the commentary that I've been doing. Andy, though, 4.2 seconds. Frank is still closing that gap in. It's not all over until the fat lady sings. It really is not. Andy, 4.4 seconds. Frank in second. Anything can happen within the next 2 minutes and 20 seconds, roughly. But it's Andy out in front. Frank in second. We're going forward with Andy. There he is. There's the Scotsman. 4.5 seconds the gap. It's just pulled out slightly. And I think that's going to help with Andy. And to be honest, I think there's 3 laps left here. 3 laps left. Oh, that's Plaster off. Plaster is over. No, and Andy spun. No way. Andy has spun out the lead. No way. Dramatic turn of events here. Whoa, what on earth has happened? Andy has lost it on the curb on the exit of Paddock Hill Bend, and he goes for a spin. Frank now into the lead of the race. I said anything can happen. Commentators curse at its finest. Andy now has got to fight for his life if he wants to win this race. Frank is out in front. 51.9 last time around. Maybe that put him under pressure. That 51.9. But Frank is now into the lead of the race. I didn't think I'd be saying that. Andy making a very, very rare mistake. A real rare mistake. We have got 2 more laps to go on to lap 33. We have got 2 more laps to go. We'll have another one after this. But Frank now leading. He gets caught outside and is through there safely. Andy running the curve nicely. 2.5 seconds separating. That has been really costly. In all fairness, that last lap has cost him about 8 seconds, that spin. But he's still only 2.8 seconds off. In theory, it's only cost him around 4 or 5 seconds. Plaster is holding up McKinda for you, I think, in the background there. And there is Sean, now only 5 seconds off. There is McKinda for you. Plaster's let him through. McKinda for you is now free to try and get going. But Frank leading the way, 51.7. It was his last time around. Really impressive. What's he done this time around? 51.9 responds. How's Andy responding to that? 51.8 responds. A tenth quicker. But we're on the final lap, and Andy's mistake has came at such a costly time, because Frank is going to be the one that is going to be winning this race here. The feature race is going to go to Frank, and I think for the first time in a few races, we're going to be having different winners and we're not having Crusher Bro on the top step of the podium or completing the Grand Slam or anything like that. It is going to be Frank getting this win unless something happens with his last series of corners. Frank taking this nice and steadily. 1.7 seconds. He's easing up out in front. I wouldn't be so suspect. Andy has got that penalty. Frank can ease up a little bit further if he wants to. He is going to be coming across the line. The lights for flashing for Frank. He comes across the line to win the feature race. Good win in the end. A very lucky win though with that. Andy in second. He'll get my drive of the day nonetheless for his performance in this race. Sean in third. McKinder for you in fourth. May's going to be coming across the line in fifth. We have already got Plaster across the line as well, so we're only waiting on Mays, Theo Daly and Alan Kay to come across the line. Alan Kay is just coming up behind Mays. There's Mays, there's Alan Kay, and we should have Theo Daly coming across the line very soon as well. Theo Daly is round Clark Curve for the final time. Theo Daly across the line to finish in 6th place. Good performance from him, despite a good qualifying session. Bit of a disappointing race from him. Plenty with penalties. Let me run you through the grid order at the end of this race. Frank has won here at Brands Hatch. Andy in second, Sean in third, McKinder for you in fourth, Mays in fifth, Theo Daly in sixth, all on the same lap. Plaster and Alan Kay lapped. Penalty situation, Andy with 2 seconds, McKinder for you with a second, Theo Daly with 2 seconds, and Alan Kay with 2 seconds as well. And that is TTG Project Cars 2 over for this season. I know everyone's going to be so sad now. I can't guarantee you when the next sign-ups will be open. I think Andy will be the best placed person to say that, and hopefully catch up with us, of course, on Twitter. And that Twitter account, of course, is at TT_PCars. TT_PCars is our username there for Twitter, and I'm sure there'll be more details being released for the next season of TTG Project Cars in the very near future, and hopefully we will get some exclusives coming, possibly for TTL F2 and F1. I may give a little shout out at the end of the streams for that. But I'd just like to say a big thank you to everyone as organised this. Andy getting out on track, forcing me into the commentary decision for him prospectively. He could have won that race there in Brands Hatch Indy. So unlucky that he did. Honestly, I'd like to say thank you for the opportunity. My 4th commentary of the week in all. This has been a real thrill. The last 3-4 weeks or whatever has been a real thrill commentating on TTG Project Cars. I'd love to do it again. I can't, however. I will not be commentating on TTG Project Cars because I have already got a commentary booked for 7 o'clock, I think it is, on a Saturday, and that is with a league called League of Europe, who have scouted me as a top division commentator for them. So I know it's very sad that I'm not going to be commentating for TTG Project Cars, but hopefully I can do my bit going forward, whether that be as a driver, whether that be as some form of the admin team going forward as well, and of course keep an eye on the Twitter for the details on the new season. But for me, Jameson14, I bid you farewell for the final time this week. It's been a great week for commentary for me personally. Hopefully everyone has enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, which will be TTL F2 on Tuesday, I bid you farewell. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.